Right, I think we're on air. So, hello everyone this evening to the second official science fiction model action European Hangout. I'm glad to see a good turnout. Mostly European members, but we've got a couple from the States, so that's good as well. Um, so the usual story, if I'll introduce myself first of all, and then we'll run through everyone that's here. I'm Liam Dillon, and one of the co-hosts for SFMA Europe Hangouts, appointed by Boyd. We don't know if he's wise or not, but he seems to put some trust in us. So just hope it goes okay. I'm in Derry in Northern Ireland, and back into modelling about a year and a half ago. And as a lot of people, I can blame Boyd for that. So if we run through who we have here, if I go from my Google left, we start with Andy Golightly. What are you up to, Andy?
Everybody. Not bad. Asking.
Oh, nasty.
Well, it is nasty actually because they don't seem to be sticky.
Really?
Well, yeah, I've peeled off some of the blank stuff and it just doesn't stick to anything; it just falls off. So I might have got a bad back. I don't know.
The orbital dry dock stuff is peculiar in the way it works. It's a pity Boyd's not here because obviously I think he's the most familiar with it. But anyone else used it? I mean, Dave, you haven't used the orbital dry docks?
I haven't. I haven't used it yet. I know that it's a very low tack paint mask. So yeah, you gotta. You got. I know which one you're using, Andy.
It's the Into Darkness 1500 set.
Okay. You just having a problem with it sticking?
It just won't stick down. I've emailed dry dock. I can't. I'm trying to make it go. I can't use it.
Right.
Just gonna fit. Literally, if I blew on it, it would off. That shouldn't happen. So.
We seem to be getting a fair bit of feedback. I'm assuming no one has YouTube open at the same time. Sometimes that causes feedback on the broadcast, but no.
Double checking here.
No, I don't.
No, seems to settle down again.
Picture's frozen, huh?
Picture's frozen?
Yeah.
Right, if I switch back to myself. Wait, back to me now or not? What are we all saying? Are we okay again? Okay, well, back to Andy. I mean, that's the JJ prize you're doing the decaling on. This, but other than being at the Aztec stage.
Started this afternoon and just doesn't want to stay down. I don't know.
Have you sprayed any yet, or you just been putting it on?
Just trying to get it on. I mean, if you do hard enough on it, it's just.
Yeah, I know when Boyd was using his, when he had to reuse his a couple times on that Aztec on the refit, he was starting to have problems where they didn't want to stick anymore, and he had to be very, very careful that the paint didn't go up underneath it.
I mean, this doesn't have. As a bad piece of just doesn't want to stick.
That's the point. It's really low tap, but
yeah, but
maybe it's got a set that was an all piece of vinyl that the glue is bad on. I would contact one bucket and replace that.
Once you put it down and remove your camera, all of a sudden it just all peels up.
yeah.
Hey guys.
Hey,
Is that Adam?
Yes.
Adam.
Sorry. If Adam's joined us now, if we go back to Adam alphabetically, Adam would be before Andy. But are you working on anything, Adam?
Beg your pardon?
Are you working on anything?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. I'll show you. If any of y'all watching anime or stuff like that, I'm working on this dude right here.
Ah.
Yeah, this is an old kit though. Sent this to me a few months ago, and it's 20-some plus years old. But we're redoing it to look like the anime machine, and let's try and do a screen share here. I can show you what our goal is. Let's see here. Here we go. Now, and screen share. Don't see it up here. Well, here we go. Y'all see that?
Yep.
Now, this is from the Macross series that came out in the early 80s. And this is how it's supposed to look if you're going to do it like that. And that's the Batroid mode. And let's see here. Okay. And there's the other modes too. Let's see. Okay. That's the plane itself. It's kind of modeled after an F-14. So that's the mode it starts out in, and then the robot later. And there's an in-between here too. Kind of cool.
So once you build the kit, it's fully articulated.
Oh yeah, and I'll show you a couple parts. It's fully posable. Now, this right here, that's kind of like the engine. You know, when it's all folded up into the airplane. Here's your exhaust and your intake in here. But you can open the engine up, and now it's a foot with a knee and a hip.
Yeah.
And
Excuse me.
it has fully retractable gear. I can dig that out for you. Tweezers.
You don't get issues because it's made of plastic sticking almost. You know, is it lubricated in some way, or is it just purely down to good manufacturing?
Well, actually, there's a this landing gear. There's some little joints called polycaps, and it's kind of like a semi-soft rubber. And when you get these kits, the old ones or some of the repops, it's just a runner, and they look like little grommets, you know, kind of like a washer or something. They're kind of deep. And when you get ready to use them, you know, the kit will tell you where to put the grommets. So it's like a pig. And whether you have the die-cast metal gear or other joints, whenever you just push them in, it's a press fit. And then, of course, the halves glue together. And they stay kind of slick and soft the whole time. And you can pose them however you want. And it's fairly firm. So if you get him like in a pose, like he's running or something, it'll stay until you move it again. And this right here, this is just one of the arms. And it's got a bicep joint, an elbow, a shoulder, and some of parts are swappable. So if you want to bring it in one mode and keep it there, like the chest, you have to swap it out or something like that. But it's they're.
Is it colorized or painted to begin with, or do you choose a paint scheme?
Well, this being an old kit, this one you have to paint.
Right.
And of course, it's all cemented together with glue. Now the newer ones, they're already colored. They're molded in the color you need, and they're stamp type. Now they're a little more sophisticated than these old glue kits. As a matter of fact, there's an internal armature that you build that's made of ABS plastic, and then the polystyrene goes to the outside like armor. There's also quite a few more pieces. But for example, like let's just say this is the leg now. This one is all just one linear movement, just back and forth. But if you go to the more sophisticated kits, this foot can go left and right, twist 120 degrees left and right, just like a real foot. And up here in the hip joint, that can do that too. So that's how far they've come.
The reason I asked about the colouring, I watched a video today of Bandai's announcements that they now have the Star Wars license.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the kits they showed was an AT-AT, which is I can't remember what the scale was, but it's about a 2 foot long kit when it's built, and it's fully articulated. They actually had it walking.
Yeah.
The whole thing is motorized, and same with the X-Wing. To be able to open and close the X-Wing as well. So it'll be interesting to see if the Bandai stuff becomes available in Europe. I know with the Star Trek stuff, it was always very expensive here. But
yes.
It's interesting to see what they'll do with the license.
Yeah, I am too. They really put some quality into these things, even for the cost that they are. But it's just amazing how complex they've gotten now.
Yeah, even the parts on the sprue, they showed the sprue, and the parts on the sprue are pre-colored, so the actual sprue of the model is amazing what it can do. So, if we move on perhaps a little bit, but we were chatting to Andy, and Andy was breaking up quite badly about the Aztecing, but maybe we'll come back to that afterwards, Andy, and see if anyone else has any ideas. But Bernie is our sort of resident electronic guru in the UK. If anyone needs anything, we can just turn to him. I don't know if he's up to anything.
Well, I'm just in the middle of programming and designing a new board for a new project for Neil at the moment. That's Wild House Models. So the new kit is coming out later on. I think he's hoping to get it out toward the end of the year, but I think it might be a bit later than that.
That's the medical console?
That's the medical console, that's right, yes. I'm just trying to design some electronics that will allow you to operate the unit separately if you just buy that unit on its own. But it will also connect to, if anybody's already got the first kit in the series with Stasis Pod, will connect to that and interact with it. That's the plan. So I'm pretty much involved with design on that at the moment. Just trying to keep up with orders for the kits for the Stasis. It's starting a bit quicker than I thought it.
You're not doing anything in the Trek universe at all now? Is that all?
No, unfortunately, I had I'd finished the design for the JJ Comics and had it all working, had it redesigned as a kit that I could get commercially available. Unfortunately, or fortunately as it turned out, I suffered a DOA attack on my website, and it went down, and gave me a chance to sort of have a think about things, and I realised that I wasn't going to be able to actually make it financially viable. It's going to cost me so much money to get these parts made
Mm.
that I'd have to charge silly money for it, and I just wasn't prepared to do that.
Right.
So
I know. It seems to be one of the issues that people have with developing kits that they start off with a certain price in mind, but realistically, then it goes far too high.
Yeah, well, the problem I had was that I would have had to make it affordable. I'd have had to buy or purchase 100 kits. But, you know, basically, I don't have the facilities to manufacture these kits.
Mm-hmm.
I can design them, lay them out, and then get them made by a fab house somewhere. But the problem is that I'd have to order at least 100.
Yeah.
And I had no guarantee I was ever going to sell a fraction of that.
It's the catch-22 situation. Until people sell it, they won't buy it until they sell it. Yeah, I know. The old story. If we move on to Bob, what are you working on, Bob?
Hey guys, how's everybody today? I just
Fine, thank you.
Hangout opened up. Well, that's probably what I just finished my Black Beauty.
Oh, the 48-hour.
Full 48-hour build.
Yeah.
I just literally just finished it.
Nice.
That's the Green Hornet car.
The Green Hornet car, 1/32 scale and polar lights. And I'm also working on my M1A1 Abrams tank for the Styrene Syndicate group build.
What scale is that? It looks big.
This one is 1/35.
Right.
So it's literally almost the same scale as this car. That's what I'm working on right now.
Okay, excellent. We moved on to my co-host Craig, who looks to be doing something. I caught him. Yes, he was doing something else.
Hey guys, my name's Craig. Save UK on Sci-Fi Model Action. I'm working on the JJ the same as Andy at the minute.
Don't do it.
What a horrible kit! What a horrible kit! And now I'm making the kit number 3. But anyway, that's a different story. What I'm actually doing is actually going through my masks, just to see if my masks are doing the same as Andy's. So I'm carefully trying to unpeel it all at the second. I'm failing miserably. If you give 2 seconds.
It's not a case of being unfamiliar with the process, and I know it's new to both of you, and I know if I get to the stage of doing a refit or one, I probably will get his masks, but it isn't just a case of it's just a very different way of masking, the very, very low tack.
Mine don't seem to be low tack, they seem to be really sticky. I put a little bit on the back of mine, and they seem to be sticking alright. That's just the junk bits. They don't seem to be lifting. So I'm not sure about Andy's light, but mine seem to be sticky enough. But either way, I had a little play with a shuttle bay last night. The shuttle bay I said I wasn't going to put in, but there's my little shuttle bay.
Yeah.
Kind of looks, well, if I can find the camera, it kind of looks average. Still not sure if I'm going to use that or not. I've been making rotors out of the PE. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I've killed my deflector. But I need another one. I've had a really bad day today. I had an epic fail on my bridge, cut out the windows, and then ended up having to put styrene dividers in because I cut the bits in between. I've had an epic fail with that. Something that did go right though, I cut out the hangar bay door. That went well. And that's about where I'm at today. I tried some of that iridescent paint as well, what people were asking me about. It's on there.
Yeah, that ink looks really good.
I can't really see it in this light, but it is there.
It showed up well in your still images.
I don't know if you can see that.
It's actually ink, isn't it, Craig?
Yeah, it's artist ink.
Really good.
Kind of get the gist. It is there.
Which company? It's not the Winsor Newton one?
No, it's them.
Yeah, I've seen that one, yeah.
It's Dalla Rowney W. That's what I've been using.
Right.
It comes out real nice. So yeah, that's pretty much
I had seen that in the local art store, and I was wondering if it could be used instead of the.
It is acrylic, like it's straight out of the bottle, ready for airbrushing. All you've got to make sure is that you don't mix it. You know when you usually take the lid off and you use like a stirrer to mix it up. You just got to give it a gentle shake because it's got metal particles in it.
Right.
Right.
If you stir it up and put it straight into your airbrush, it just clogs with all the metal particles and it's too thick. So you just got to gently like shake it. It comes out just nice, which is what that is.
Those are about £6 or £7 a bottle, I think. Is that right?
I think it was $5.99 from Hobbycraft where I got mine.
Ah, right, yeah.
But yeah, it's turning out alright.
That's
don't know
looking
if
good so far,
anybody remembers when I put the picture up of the golden stuff. If I can find the camera, that.
Yeah, I do.
That's the stuff that I've got. That was about the same as about $5.99. That was from they've got the Kingston University just down the road, about half an hour's drive from here. And when I work in there, I pop in there and get paints. And although they call it interference, and they do just about every colour of the rainbow, it's slightly thicker, so it does need thinning down. They do supply a thinner, but the Tamiya, when I tested it, the Tamiya thinner actually works better with this for an airbrush than anything else. So,
is it a water-based?
Yeah, it's acrylic. Yeah, it's water-based. It's 1 fluid ounce. Interference violet, fine. It's fine. They do different thicknesses. This one's fine. And you saw a couple of pictures that I put up, so it works quite well.
I must have a look at that one too. I haven't seen that one before, so. If we could go back to Dave, I think I know what you're working on, but you're going to tell us now anyhow.
Was you talking to me? It was breaking up a little bit.
There's one David here.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it was breaking up a little bit.
Sorry.
Well, I'm Dave Pashadag, Wolf 359 at Sci-Fi Model Action, and what I've been working on is the original Battlestar Galactica.
Nice.
And I've got the middle section done, and what I've done here is the kit comes with a force perspective for the shuttle bay that you cut off the side of the box. And I decided I didn't want to go with the photo etch stuff, so what I did was I took a 0805 SMD and put up there in the front and painted it gray to kind of match the flooring. So when you look up in there, because it's kind of small, you know, and let's see here. Well, here's the other side. You can't really see up in there without the light on, but, you know, you only got that much you're looking into anyway, and it lights it up good enough just for that right there. So I've been working on that, and I got the front section done. I'm gonna wait and paint it the shade of white at the end when I've got everything, you know, put together. I'm also using JST connectors to connect the 3 sections together. So it's like this section here has the female at both ends, and then the rod comes out right here. I'm working on the tail section now, and what I've done here is I went to my dollar store and found one of these little flashlights with the LEDs.
Yeah.
And I cannibalized it, and they seem to be a little brighter than normal SMDs. Okay. So what I did was, and I kind of did this the same thing with my Raider, is I used a flat one, but these I found is round. Let me see if I can hook it up here real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, how it... I had to put a 220 resistor on there. The board actually had a... Can you see that?
Yeah, that's high output, yeah.
How bright that comes
I
out?
think the neighbours can as well.
Yeah. Well, the
That's
camera's
right.
out, but it is really bright, like it's supposed to be. And it works out great, and it cost me $2,
Great idea.
Yeah, so, but it seems like those flashlights you buy, the LEDs are a little brighter than normal, say, bright white, you know what I mean?
It can actually hurt your eyes if you look at them directly. They're so bright, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then what I did to the back end of it is I took some sandpaper and sanded it, and I put a couple coats of, I got some spray frosting, frosted glass I use, and I put a couple coats on that on there, and that kind of diffuses it enough, and so yeah, it worked out real well. I think it'll look pretty good once it's done.
I know. I've been thinking about my next build. I think it's probably going to be the Star Destroyer, and one of the things about that is they make the engines really, really bright, and I keep thinking that an ordinary LED won't be sufficient. So,
yeah, if you can find one of those long ones, depending upon how wide you need it, but they make those ones that are kind of long, and they're not too expensive. I found one a while back, and that's what I used in my Raider. I cut the board and put a resistor for 12 volt, figured it out, and it works just fine. Got a nice bright light, and kind of cheaply done, and easy to do,
Well,
so.
I don't know about in the US, but I know here in the UK, all of the pound shops, those dollar stores would be your equivalent. Halloween is upon us shortly, and I've been already looking at stuff. There's tons of little LEDs and optical fibers and
Christmas decorations as well. You find a lot in these pound stores. Christmas decorations.
Yeah.
So, invest now while they're in the store, because once the 1st of November comes, they take all the stock away.
Yeah.
If we move on to John in the far northeast.
Is that me?
Yeah, well, I hope so. I think you're in the northeast, yes.
Hello everybody, I'm John. I'm from the northeast England in a place called Newcastle. I've been building models for the last 13 months. And I've built about 5 models up to date. And I'm really loving it. I'm one of these other crazy British people who's just started on the Into the Darkness Enterprise as well. And I have all the paint masks and everything, but I'm actually making my own paint, my own iridescent paint on them. I've been doing quite well making them actually.
What are you using?
I've been using automotive powder, and I've tested them a couple of months back, and the test didn't go so well. But I've since mixed a little bit more into the bottles and got a stronger mix, and the colours are a lot more prominent now. It's quite reflective, and it's like plain when you look at it, certain views, and then on other angles it glistens the gold and red and blue. So it's going quite well.
Is that a lacquer base?
No, what I'm doing is usually I use Plasticoat spray cans to do most of the large saucer type things and everything, and that has no problems at all using with Tamiya paints. And I'm using the Tamiya clear coat to mix the powders into. So it'll be like an acrylic based iridescent paint that I end up with.
Right. And you've no issues with it, as Craig was saying earlier on about clogging the airbrush, nothing like that?
No, it's Tamiya, in the actual automotive powders. What I do have is meant to go through an airbrush.
Right.
Yeah, so's that stuff of mine. It's supposed to go through an airbrush, but if you mix it, there's too much metal in it. The pigmentation on it just clogs your needle.
Right. What size of needle have you got, Craig?
0.5.
Right. Well, I was going to say if it had been a 0.2 or a 0.3, I could understand it, but you think a 0.5 would be fine, yeah. I'll be
So what
interested
you have
to
to
see.
do with that, Craig? You just gently shake it around then.
Yeah, on that stuff I've got, if you mix it like you would a normal paint, there's too much metal particles because
Right.
it's actually metal filings that's in it. So
Right.
if you make it thick and cloggy, it just don't go through the airbrush. But if you
Yeah,
just
well, this-
agitate it and shake it, you get enough metal particles in the liquid that's in there.
Right. I mean, the stuff I've been making, once I've left it in the pot for a day or two, it's actually solidified at the bottom of the jar.
Yeah, that's what mine does.
You have to give it like a really, really good mix to get it all like properly mixed again. But it just goes through the airbrush, no problem whatsoever.
Right.
I mean,
What about a ball bearing? If you dropped a ball bearing or a small ball bearing or a lead fish weight? No?
That's a great idea. What I've been using is one of the children got some marbles in one of the gift things they got, and I've just been using like a small marble in the bottom of my paint bottle and giving it a good shake up with that.
Yeah.
It just works exactly the same as a ball bearing.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be interested to see the results you get with the paint, John. So.
Well, I did test it about a month or two ago. I have since put smaller amounts back in to the small jars I had, but I've just bought a lot more of the clear paint, and I'm going to make. Excuse me, I'm full of cold. I'm going to make about 30 mil of each, so I should have enough to do the whole ship by the time I've mixed it all.
Well, it should be. It's interesting to see the result.
What I'll do is I'll do some more test sprays in the next couple of weeks and I'll post them.
If we move on to Spencer, because I think everyone wants to see this. Well, he knows I do, but I think everyone else probably wants to see it. I still, you know, the conversation we've had back and forth about where you got it and so on. You must have got the only one that Argus had in stock in the UK.
I don't know if it's the popularity of it, or they might have, because from what I heard, it was coming out in the US. I did a Google search, it came up in Argos. I went to Argos, I ordered it, and I got it. Now, whether they dropped a dangly and basically they shouldn't have released it, but it was advertised that it came with a couple of 80.
Something strange happens when you try to add it into. Sorry. That's okay. I was going to say it's very strange. When you try to add it to the basket in the store, it then goes to a strange look.
Right.
So it does look as if it was an error of some kind. You probably shouldn't have gotten the stock, but don't complain. For anyone that's not aware, this is a Hasbro.
It is. Here's the box. I don't know if you can basically see that, but that's the box. And basically, it is a toy. It is a toy. You've seen some of the pictures as well of basically the halves. I'm not technical when it comes to it, but obviously, you've got the front cockpit area. Everything's molded in. I've painted these just to get a rough, but they're all going to be cut out because I'm going to scratch build the cockpit area. You've got the docking rings. I don't know if you can actually see that, but the detail.
Oh yes.
It's actually it's superb.
Most of the pipework, however, is still part of the plastic. There's not a case of the pipes being separate or anything. No, they're just raised detail.
No, it's all. Well, put it this way. Apart from the only thing that comes separate is the top turret gun and the radar dish, and then you basically get a sheet of stickers.
Yeah.
That is it. I've got there's another sheet here because my biggest challenge is going to be the sidewalls because they're stickers.
Right.
So there's a lot of scratch building to do.
Yeah.
Now,
could you show us the size in relation to you? I think people don't realise how big it actually is.
Well, I've got big hands.
Well, your cooker hood. I mean, that gives us an idea.
Yeah.
That's an excellent cooker. You can see that it's not a small.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It's.
Wow.
Yeah. Then you see what we're talking about.
It's the biggest one I've ever saw.
Yeah.
It's what, 2 foot. It must be over 2 foot. I'm a size
2.5 feet. Two and a
I'm
half
a
feet.
size 10, and I could probably get this 2 or 3 foot.
Yeah.
It's smaller than another offering that is coming out soon, but it's like I said, that's one half. Well, put it this, there's 2 halves because if you can see, it's got a rib there. Now that rib obviously connects the 2 halves together.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's just moulded in plastic. I wouldn't be very surprised actually, but looking closely at the MR Falcon and this one, the detail is so precise. It's as if they've taken one of the MR molds,
Right.
and basically then done this, because when you look at one of the MR Falcons, the Master Replicas, and you think that it's exact. It's exactly the same. So I don't know if I can flip the camera on this or anything like that.
You can just your normal.
Ah, yes, I can. Right, good.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day. So anyway, so now, it's.
And this is painting that you've actually done on it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just a standard grey styrene. Well, it's not even styrene. It's a flexible.
Polypropylene.
Yeah. So it's doing a lot of work, dry brushing, air brushing, different effects, bits and pieces like that. This morning, before I took my boy back home to his mum, I just did the laser blasts.
It's the size. I think the size that sells it. So
yeah,
amazing.
And one of the grills from yesterday.
How did you? I saw you were doing the grills. How did you achieve the grill work?
Yeah, got myself one of those.
Right.
One of the X-Acto. Same again ready for the cockpit. It's sort of like getting the diameter, because you can measure so you can get the diameter correct. Ready for when it's supposed to pop in there. I'm just trying. Here's the only. Well, there's a couple of side walls that they actually supply, and that's about it. And that's probably the most important part. And if I can. So.
Look, I mean, they look excellent. It's a pity they didn't supply everything like that. So.
It's pretty good detail.
Yeah. I have 2 of the Revell Easy kits, which are a fair size, but they're nowhere near as detailed as that.
I have as well, and there's one of the sidewalls to it.
Yeah.
Now it's obviously quite chunky and quite thick, as you well know.
Yeah.
It's slightly thinner than the. If I can get one here. Here's obviously the AMT sidewall, but when you put that alongside. It's more or less pretty much exact. So once you've added your own, you could cut that, play around with that, add your own plumbing, and that's half the work done. But obviously, scale-wise.
Are you planning to let it?
Yeah. I've got to work. There's a difference in size. I've got to try and work out. Obviously, I'll turn this over. I've got to work out about sort of like boxing this in. This section here obviously is just plastic because the sticker goes on there, so I've got to cut this out and then basically sort of like get some clear acrylic, which will then be frosted to diffuse the light. But I'm thinking, like for instance when you've got the fine molds where you've got the engines on that, it seems to be that there's quite a few tubes. Rather than it just being a
plain
thing, and I'm wondering if to go down that route and then sort of like see if the light still passes through nicely on that. So at least there's some detail rather than just a glass clear acrylic thing or whatever. So, but yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment. There's no rush to get it going. But then again, I think on Tuesday I said that there was no rush, and I've been doing it non-stop just for a bit of fun, just to see what I can do. So. Yeah,
I was going to say you've posted lots of nice pics, so keep going. It could be a quick build if you get the enthusiasm into it. But I'll just have to keep an eye on stock coming back in there.
Yeah, keep going for it. Keep going for it.
I've
I've not tried them again.
I would imagine it'll be coming back out for Christmas for the children, like.
Yeah, it's £60, which for the size of the kit, it's amazing.
It's a modder's delight at the end of the day for a large-sized Falcon. For 60 quid. Well, you can't really say much more than that. Like I said, there's other offerings out there and that cost a lot more, hell of a lot more. It depends on really.
I've seen the same price, $60 for the US market. Typically enough, as usual, yes.
Ah, yeah. They just change the sign, don't they?
Dave or Bob would be interested in doing one, but
yeah. But just other things that I've been doing. I'm just switching backwards and forwards, just spinning this around. That's not 135th. That's 118th. That's another one of these Forces of Valor, which I've basically resprayed.
A radio control?
No, it's just a toy.
Right.
That's it. The lid comes off, and that's it. It's a toy. But it was a terrible paint job, so I just thought that I'd respray it and everything. There's my hand, so obviously it goes to. But
it can be surprising. Some of the toys, the detail in some of the toys is crazy when you look at them, but then.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
A lot of them using the same CAD files that the model companies are using for the toy companies.
Yeah.
They're just making one big piece instead of 500 little pieces.
Yeah.
Off the same CAD files.
Jamie, well, look forward to seeing the rest of it, Spencer. Really, I'll be keeping an eye on your build on that.
Yeah, I'll be updating it as much as I can, whether that'll be on a daily or every other day. I'll do a bit here and there.
Daily.
Post some stuff up. So, but the biggest challenge, like I said, is going to be lighting it, doing the scratch build in the cockpit because there is no cockpit.
Yeah.
And the sidewalls, really. That's when all the fun starts. Yeah.
Looks great so far, anyhow. So.
Thank you very much.
Jamie joined us a while ago, so.
Hi guys.
I think he jumped onto the stairs.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't be a bit earlier. I just needed to put the link in and it took a bit of time getting in. Unfortunately, I haven't got long, so I've got to go to work. But I just wanted to join you guys and show you what I've been up to. First of all, I went to something in Stoke-on-Trent in the UK today. It was called the Comic Con, and there was a Peter Gabaldi lookalike there. And I asked him to do SFMA a shout out. I'm going to post this, but I thought you guys would like to see it as a first run up. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this?
Oh yeah.
Right, now I'm going to play this, and you'll be able to hear what he says.
Hello there, I'm Peter Capaldi, and I have to say that sci-fi model action is
very good.
Yes, you, stand on the sofa, blaming whatever. So head onto that website, check it out, because you will not regret what you're going to see. It's fabulous. Is that it now, Uncle? Thank you.
Not a bad impersonation there.
I thought it was really cool for him to do that. I just thought it was a good shout out for the SFMA. But as to what I've been working on, I started work on the flying sub. At the moment, I've done the priming on it, so we've got a white primer. I've wiped off the inside, and that's the one. And this is like the top piece. So this is the top piece done. Yeah, I mean it comes pristine yellow, and then you sort of destroy it with the primer, and then you got to give it back the yellow colour. So I've also been working on these things. These are the I've worked on one of the chairs. So here's one of the chairs.
Oh, right.
Ah.
That's a kit part?
Yeah, that's a kit part. That goes into the front of the sub.
Very nice.
These are the armrests. I've just finished painting. I need a bloody magnifying glass for this. But I don't know if you can see the paintwork I've done on this. I'll try. Yes.
That's a control stick, is it?
Yeah, it's a control stick to the sub.
Very nice.
But
That's cool.
The real paintwork, it's really so small. It's unbelievable. And the worst thing about this is you're not actually going to see it when it's in the sub. Now, I've had problems getting the characters for the sub. They just don't make them anymore, and they're not on eBay or anywhere. So I took somebody's advice, and I haven't done it yet. I haven't finished it, but I've just managed to set it so it's sitting in the seat. But I've took one of the Star Trek characters out of the Toss Bridge, and I've kit bashed him, and I've put his arms in a certain way, and I've measured him up to the thing, and he's sort of glued up at the moment, but he's come out like this.
That's great.
Looks fine, yeah.
So when he's finished, he actually will. I can't actually do it. There you go. He actually fits in the chair.
I see. Kit bashing, not to be said for it.
Yeah. So when he's all painted up, I'm going to do 2 of them. So hopefully that's going to replace the Crow's Nest figures, because you just can't get them anymore. It's just impossible.
Right, yeah, they're hard to find.
Yeah, somebody did mention doing the Star Trek figures at the Toss Bridge set is the exact same size for the model.
Same scale.
Yeah, so I decided, but the trouble with them are, the arms don't actually go to the controller. So what you've got to do, you've got to file down the arms, re-glue them and fill them. So they're actually, they're sort of facing like this, and you want them like this. So the arm, I've had to really cut, trim, and then fill up with putty and then sand it down to make the arm again. But it was worth it in the end, because I think once the 2 characters are in, they're painted up, they'll be quite cool to look at. So that's where I'm at the moment. I'll be posting some of the pictures I took at the Comic Con. There was the Knight Rider car there, the DeLorean was there. What I was surprised, because there wasn't much Star Trek stuff there, but there was a lot of Doctor Who stuff. And is there any fans of Doctor Who on here?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember? Do you remember a girl with Colin Baker called Perry?
Yes.
Do you remember her?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I can't think of the actress's name, but I do remember. Yeah, with the blonde hair.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I'll just show you this if I can find it. Give me a second. I actually got her, or she was there with Colin Baker. So I must say, I'll show you this one. I've got one from Star Wars. Hang on. This was one of the guys in costume. I'm actually going to post these up after, but this was one of the guys in costume.
Oh, General Grievous.
Superb.
Yeah, it's a really good costume. Bear with me. Just gonna. Oh, this was one of the Borg.
Oh. I think that the reason that Boyd's not with us today is because the convention's on in San Antonio today.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Yes.
That Perry character from Doctor Who, and if you look in the background, you'll see Colin Baker.
Signing autographs out there, yeah.
Yeah.
I like your shirt.
That's the actual woman who played his psychic.
Yeah.
So we had quite good fun today. So I'll be posting some of the pictures on the web with those, so you'll all be able to see them.
Very good.
But it was a good day. So anyway, that's where I'm up to, and unfortunately I have to leave you guys because I've got to go to work. But I've just got to have time to join you all. So
thanks for coming on.
I shall see you next week.
Before you go, Jamie, let's see it one more time.
See you, Jamie.
See you, Ed. Bye.
Okay.
Jamie.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, Liam, I had a JJ Prize mask set. No, I don't. Cheers, Andy.
Sorry, we shouldn't laugh.
But to answer your question, it's sticky. It'll stick.
Yeah, it looks like. It looks like we used to take a VHS cassette apart and do the tape. That's what it looks like. So, oh dear.
No, that's just the excess that's come off. Or I've just peeled off the crap around the outsides.
Oh. It looks like fun. It's something to look forward to in the future in my modelling days. We'll see. But everyone else is talking about what they're doing, but I've been busy because I'm a bit like Jamie. I'm away to a Star Trek convention in London next weekend. So I've been busy making comm badges for a lot of my friends who all want them for the use of the uniforms at the convention. But I've been trying to decide on the next build. So I think it probably will be the Star Destroyer, the MPC kit, which I got a hold of 2 weeks ago. But it's a very basic model, so it'll be a lot of work to try and make it look like something decent. I don't know if anyone else has built that one. No. You can still get a hold of them, but they're a bit like the Clear D. It's one of those kits that usually you pay a lot more than it's worth for it. But I managed to get one for it was £30 I paid for it, which I was very happy with. But again, it needs a lot of work, a lot of detailing work, a bit like the Falcon you have, Spencer. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the Bandai one, what they do with that Star Destroyer that they've been showing. That's quite a beast, isn't it?
I don't know if you've all seen the video. The video was released today. It was Hobby Link Japan put the video up.
Yeah.
And they showed Star Destroyer, but if that's what the model's going to be like, it's enormous. It's about 6 feet long. But the AT-AT actually walking, the all-terrain.
Yeah, the guns firing. I saw it. The guns firing.
Same thing, yeah. So you wonder how much they'll include in the kit. But I know with the Star Trek kits, the Enterprise and Voyager and so on in the UK, when Bandai did them, they were £150, £160. And that was before, and then the rarity value, they go for even more than that. So don't know how.
Can't imagine that AT-AT is going to be cheap either, though, can you?
Yeah. No, if Bandai are manufacturing it, any Japanese company, it's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's an awful pity because Revell do a very good job of what they do, but they just don't seem to aim it at the modeling market. It seems to be more the kid market. But then that's up to us to try and improve upon the model. Anything you want to raise when we're all here? Oh, sorry, Ian's back again. I beg your pardon. I get to give Ian. Let Ian have his.
Before I get kicked out again, Liam.
You lost your spot and Jamie dived in. So, away you go, Ian. Sorry.
How are we doing, guys? I'm Ian Hartwade from Scotland. Been sci-fi model action for about a year now. I just started to get seriously into modelling over the last 6-7 months. I've been listening to Dave regarding the Battlestar Galactica, and I want to know, Dave, I missed a bit where you done the landing pods. Have you sealed yours up?
On the what now?
Have you sealed up the landing bays?
Well, I got the one. I got the one sealed. But I've got the other one here. That's not sealed.
Well, Interstellar Modeler, Orlando gave me the inserts. He managed to put them onto photo paper, and if you put like a 3mm LED behind it, it looks absolutely incredible. But just as I was trying to get you, I lost a connection.
Oh.
I could easily send them to you. I got plenty spare. They look absolutely amazing.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I glued the one side already. It didn't come out too bad with the one SFMA on.
Mm-hmm.
And just using the force perspective out of the box, you know. I was just basically going out of the box with this one, except for adding a little lighting, you know.
Ian, I've had to mute you. I'll just unmute you again. I think there's some kind of feedback at your end. I noticed when your microphone's turned on, we're getting issues. I don't know if you can check anything. Hold on. Trying to unmute you again. Yep. You're back on again.
Any better?
Seems about yeah. What was happening was something. Everything I say is taken back. Everything Dave said was taken back. And suddenly when you joined in, you mute your sound. Okay. So I don't know if your volume's a little high or something.
Let's have a look. No, I've got it's about a third of the way up.
My sound's down now, but
I leaned right next to the machine, so.
Right, you haven't got YouTube open at the same time.
Nope.
Right, that's the other thing that lots of feedback. Okay, we'll persevere. We'll should be okay. With regard to is there Is there a piece of hardware that you find hard to get hold of? You know, with buying things like airbrushes, anyone got any particular sort of preference that they'll go to a particular supplier?
Struggling with the same.
Yeah, I'm getting a bad feedback.
Everybody talks. Yeah.
Right. I've had to mute Ian again. Hold on, bear with me. Because it still seems to be. Is that okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely Ian's connection for some reason. When I mute Ian, the problem goes away. I don't know. Sorry, Ian, but there seems to be some issue. I can unmute you.
Well, just unmute it when you're ready to talk.
But apologies, but it seems to be at your end the issue. I don't know why. Oh, it's gone off. Oh dear. So I was starting to talk about hardware and so on. I know over the summer I had a compressor, my airbrush compressor failed, and it was only about a year and a half old, and I was very disappointed in it. But I came across a company called Bart Sharp. I don't know if anyone else has bought stuff from them in the UK, but they're very, very keen for compressors and airbrushes. The compressor I got, the only difference, the big change I made was I went for one with a tank.
Yeah, them are the best.
And very quick delivery, and it's a very quiet machine. So
How much was that one, Liam?
Well, the airbrusher and it comes with a Vita airbrush, which is that one.
Yeah.
For £78.
Including the compressor?
Yep.
Wow.
Now, they sell the airbrush. I mean, that airbrush, you can get that on eBay for about £18–19.
Yeah.
And I've used it, and you know, the brushes are all tiny knockoffs, effectively, but I'm more than happy with the results I get with them.
Yeah.
In fact, I've another one which I put down, which was a mistake. Where did I put it? I put it down and I can't find it again. I have another one which it's a very similar design, but it has a little paint controller here. So if you've got an issue with your compressor that you can't get the PSI the way you want it, you just turn down the amount of air that's getting fed in at this point in the brush, and you can get down to 0.5mm lines. It's just amazing that you can do with it. But say that and the compressor as a kit for $78. They do a lot of models, a lot of variations. But that was the one I went for as the sort of basic. I'm trying to negotiate with them at the minute to try and get an SFMA discount, and they seem amenable to the idea. So if I do get a hold of something, I'll post it up to you. But I ordered it on a Monday morning. It was here on Wednesday. So there seemed to be.
Is that through eBay or a particular website?
No, it's Bart Sharp, BART Sharp.com.
Bart Sharp.
Bart Sharp. Yeah.
Bart Sharp.
If you don't get it, send me an email and I'll send it on to you. But they seemed, I had been dealing with another company previously, and because of the issue I had with the last compressor, I tried to say to them, look, it's only a year and a half old. They just didn't want to know. Where they have a very good reputation on a few of the other forums, Bart Sharp. So, but I'll say, but don't order anything yet, and maybe I'll get a discount for you this week.
No, cool. Yeah, good.
It's one advantage. I mean, the whole thing about having a large group as well. I mean, we can probably negotiate our discounts with suppliers if we can sort of keep an eye on things and try and sort of club together and say, well, we all want to buy an airbrush or we all want to buy something else in bulk. Maybe
well, I'm looking for something a bit quieter because the neighbours about 20 doors down the road complain when mine one's going. It's an old Badger one, but it's the old valve one, so it's an oilless one.
Right.
God Almighty, it makes a noise.
Yeah.
There's no tank. Unfortunately, there's not a tank on it either because I've been looking at something. But when you see these cheap ones, I'm thinking, do you spend £300 or do you spend £70 on something that's going to last you a year, or £300 on something that's hopefully is going to last you 5 or 6 years?
Well,
I spent 50 quid from Lidl on mine.
Yeah.
Well,
they have some good deals. Yeah.
It's lasted 2 years so far, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
If you see it, it's that one.
Well, I tell you what, that is the one that I think I saw, but it wouldn't tell. They didn't say whether it was mains operated or petrol because there was. It just had no voltage information.
Yeah.
It was, a couple of weeks ago they did a deal. It wasn't. I don't think it was that particular one, but there was very similar to that. Very similar to that they did a deal a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, this one's it's definitely electric. Like you get an airbrush with it as well, which is nasty. You get all sorts of accessory packs. Hold on a sec, I'll open it for you. You get some nasty ass paint that comes with it.
For our American friends, the equivalent of Walmart, I suppose, in some respects.
You get an air duster with it. One of those things.
How much did you pay for all that?
I think it was about $49.99 from Lidl.
Really?
Can't go wrong, can you?
That's the nasty airbrush that you get with it, and it is nasty.
It's just a starter airbrush, that one.
I don't even think you can call it an airbrush.
That'd be alright for body painting, though, wouldn't it?
If you're going to do something in bulk,
yeah,
like you want to do like a large area really quickly,
yeah.
it spews out paint at a rapid rate of knots and leaves lovely puddles everywhere.
It's just a single action brush as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's not even worth talking about. But the actual compressor itself, that's a compressor. The only thing that you don't get with it is a water trap, which you need to get separately because it does spew out a lot of condensation.
Well, there's one included on that machine. You can see it there at the front.
Yeah.
And yours that's continuous, Craig. There's no tank on that, is there?
No.
Is it never quiet?
Quiet. Hold on, I'll put it on so you can make up your own mind. It's not too bad in general, to be honest, considering.
I can see we're going to have a standoff on compressors here in a minute because I'm going to turn mine on.
Well, that's it running. I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah.
It's not that overly loud, right? And that's without the airline on.
Without?
It's more like a vibrating hum than anything substantial, like. But voltage-wise, it's 230 volt at 50 hertz. Kicks out 300 watt.
Right.
It's got it kicks out 15 liters per minute. It's got a maximum of 26 psi. And its weight is just over 4 kilo.
Right. If I turn this one on in comparison.
Oh, beautiful. Right, you might want to turn your speakers down.
Okay.
that one Liam's got there, it fills right up over like so many seconds, and then you can actually spray for quite a while before it actually comes back on again.
Yep.
They're not great.
Breaking up again a little bit.
I think the one I've got and that the local council use them and that for their Kango hammers in the road.
A bit heavy duty. That was the reason I brought up the subject of things like hardware. As I say, I know when you're starting off in modelling, there's sort of certain things you must buy. You must get a compressor.
Yeah.
I think most of us have variable voltage transformers as well for powering. Sorry, powering a model when we're trying stuff out. Have we?
The electronic side of things, and that I don't. I just stick to like a 9-volt battery because when it comes, I don't mind a bit of plumbing and this, that, and when it comes to electrics, nah.
The thing you'll find, but Spencer, if I mean, I talked to John about this. The one I have is a little thing from Amazon.
Yeah.
It's just the fact it gives you every voltage from 0 to 18.
Yeah, I need one of those.
And you can vary the ampage as well.
Yeah.
If you're working on a kit with 48 LEDs or something, the 9 volt just won't do the job at all. But you may find you need one for the Falcon.
Well, yeah, the thing is, and that is like I've got 2 of the JJ kits. I've also got the Polar Lights 350 Enterprise, and I've bought tons and tons of LEDs, which have got resistors on them. I've got the LED light strips, you name it, the little geared motors that I know that people are using on their JJs. But it's daunting to work out how. That's it. Yeah, got those. I think they're fantastic. But to work those out, you know, it's one of those things. You know, you put it all together in that, and you think, right, turn it on, and all of a sudden it's like bloody into darkness. It just explodes into thousands of bloody pieces.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things. Perhaps, you know, in a hangout in the future. I don't know if Boyd obviously covers things like you know, the painting and decaling and assembly and so on, but the lighting side of things doesn't really get covered in detail by anyone.
No, it doesn't.
Well, usually that would be caused by not having enough amperage in your power supply. So would you be using a charger for things like that? Would you not? Would you be using a charger to power something of that magnitude?
Are you asking myself? Sorry, John.
Yep.
Yes.
Right. Sorry. Ask the question again.
Right. You know when you say you've powered everything up with LEDs and so forth, and then when you power it, how do you actually power it? Do you use
9-volt battery? 9-volt battery. Like I said, all I've done is I've bought a couple of LED kits and everything like that, soldered them together just for testing, and all I use is a 9-volt battery just to because that's what they're supposed to in effect work off. So something that's supposed to work off a 9-volt battery, and then I go and introduce my thought, because me and electrics, it's like forget it, and then go and introduce a transformer. I'm thinking to myself, nobody's told me, I don't know the knowledge and everything like that about if I, you know, do I plug it in, set it at 9 volts, but the amperage is wrong, and then it just blows everything to pieces. Do you know what I mean? That's
right. It is something what needs to be covered.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Best person to ask would have been Bernie, but where's he gone?
Yeah, well, I think he probably was something else on his plate to do or something. But yeah, but I know previously we chatted to Bernie about this, and it's one of those things you have to sort of grasp the metal and just sit down and try kits and try different things. I mean, again, I only started into it again around Halloween it was, and the first kit I lit was my Klingon Bird of Prey, and you know, it was a case of experimentation with that. And again, most of the LEDs in it came from Poundland, but I do have a 1 amp 9-volt power supply for it, in order that you're not constantly feeding into So that's why I found the little transformer very useful, because you can try the voltage, you see what voltage it is.
Yeah, that's what I'd have to say. It's probably just not enough amperage to run everything if you run it off a 9-volt.
Yeah, I mean, you probably find you end up with lights flickering and so on. That's the problem a lot of people get.
Yeah, I could just imagine me doing something in that where I've got probably about 10 or 12 different circuits and 10, 12 9-volt batteries. So lined up underneath.
Well, actually, 12 months ago when I started building models, I had never used an LED. I had never used a resistor. I didn't know what they were. And through looking on videos on YouTube, I mean, it's a great place to start if you want to get a basic knowledge. And once you have the basic knowledge, I mean, every ship I've made up to now, I've actually lit them all, and they're running fine. So, like I say, 12 months ago, I didn't have a clue about LEDs or resistors.
No, like I say, I'll have a go at anything. So if I'm still here next week.
Well, I mean, with me, I was using the 9-volt and all that, and then eventually I bought one of these. Now, I'm not sure about you guys in the UK, but I bought one of these DC power supplies.
Yeah, that's what Liam's just been talking about there.
Yeah, it's the same idea.
And if you notice, when I turn it on, you can adjust the voltage, but the amperage pretty much stays set. So you're not really going to, unless you add too much voltage, you know, you're not really going to blow anything up. But what it does, it also tells you what it's pulling.
Right.
So right now, those 2 flashlights with all those bulbs is pulling close to 70 milliamps. So, you know, sometimes some of them boards pull a lot more. I know, like Ralph's, my NX01, I think his board alone with the 9-volt power supply pulls like 150, 175 milliamps. So if you're trying to add a bunch of stuff onto that and run it with a 9-volt, it's going to drain it down. You know
Oh,
what
it's
I'm saying?
drain it in seconds. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends on what you're running in there and what it's rated at, you know. And usually they tell you in the specs, or like if you get with Ralph, you know, he'll tell you what they pull and that. But that's the one good thing about that is I can see how much it's pulling, because like when I was done with my NX01 with the strip lighting in it, and I put Ralph's board and all that, it was pulling about 300 and something milliamps, and I stuck one of those 12-volt batteries in their rechargeables to make it, you know, self-contained, but it was 4,600 milliamps, and it'll last good 5 or 6 hours, you know, if I left it on totally.
Yeah.
Before I'd have to plug it back in and recharge the battery. So
it's worth putting the time on, Spencer, because, you know, if you get
absolutely.
It's not a complicated. It's just that those basic steps.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, 12 months ago, I didn't know
you
what
can just buy a load of 470 ohm resistors, so on, you know where you stand. Craig, sorry, I had to mute you for a second because I was getting a lot of sound from you, but it won't let me unmute you again. Bear with me. Why won't let me unmute you?
The Hangout doesn't like Craig
himself.
Is he frozen?
No, he's waiting. He's saying lots of stuff to you.
I can't
do it himself.
He's
trying to get his hands around your throat.
But it won't let me unmute him again. Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, he's got to unmute himself.
Yeah. If you try unmuting. There. Okay.
There we go.
Sorry, Craig.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Nah, no, he's not. We'll be on words later.
Oh dear, dear. But that's compressors, power supplies, anything else anyone can think of that, you know, you start off, you think, a space to work in.
Harbor Freight makes that same kind of kit that you just got, the compressor with the airbrush, double action airbrush and the water trap. Yeah. It's like $80.
I found the other airbrush that I was talking about. Now this is the one with you can see the difference for the amount of air. So if you want to really do fine work, turn it and it reduces down the output of the brush.
Yeah, that's quite an advanced airbrush. It's the same similar kind to what I'm using.
I found for doing I did a little ME109, a Focke-Wulf 190, and to do the camouflage, if I hadn't had that, there's no way I could have achieved it, the detail on it. But I was saying about, that's equipment's one thing. What about how much do you find you can have a space to work in?
I have none.
Well,
I have.
Yes.
There's my workspace.
And a very, very understanding wife.
Oh yeah, she's understanding, all right.
Well, this week I have all the space I want because my other good half is in Lanzarote for the week, so that's why the Millennium Falcon is on the stove. Now,
if only she knew.
Oh, I'll tell you. Now, just quickly in that, this is just like the utility room, and there's just like junk, bits and pieces, a few kits down there. There's the other half of the Falcon sitting on there. I don't know if you can see that.
There's something I tend to get, yeah.
But I've also got my own room as well, which if I'll quickly walk you in there. Let's see if I can spin this around. That's an 8 foot by 4 foot that I basically cut around and everything. So,
lovely guy.
A few bits and pieces and work, but as you can see, that's the spare bed, and there's everything else just sitting there. So, but it needs a bit of a tidy up. It needs a big tidy up. I don't know if anybody saw the McLaren that I was doing with the engine.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. sitting there amongst other things. So, so yeah, this is normally my work area, but I can't have the compressor obviously in there. So the other room is really for all the spraying, rattle can stuff, bits and pieces and stuff like that. But this is just some of the stuff. I didn't do that. That's my little boys.
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
That's one of the architects, stormtroopers that I redid by Katapayuka. I didn't really like theirs, so I repainted that Predator. I think you all saw the X-wing that I never.
We could never get enough of the X-wing.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can see him, but Ernst Uday. I don't know if you can actually. It's the trouble with these, but yeah, and a couple. They're quite big actually, but I didn't make those. So, and just something else that I like to play around with. As you can see, that's quite big.
Yes, it is. Big,
So, but yeah, that's my toy room, if you see what I mean. But
oh, I know. I've seen Dave's setup. I'm always jealous of Dave's setup because of that big, huge area he's got to display everything. Beside the workshop, it's the Americans have the advantage of having a basement. I wish UK houses had basements.
Yeah, it's nice having the basement. I mean, and then put the stuff around. So.
But no, we can only dream about certain things over here. As Craig says, if you get an understanding wife who gives you a little square footage in the living room, you're okay.
Right. That's the only space I've got in the whole house. Everything else is hers.
Is it marked out? You have a sort of a tape wasn't crossed?
I've got like black and yellow tape in a little square around my little area. Great space.
Oh, what do you do about spraying?
Eh?
What do you do when you have to spray?
When I have to spray?
Yeah.
I open the front door, the medium door, the back door, and make sure she's out.
Oh dear, your health and safety issues.
Little gas masks on the dogs and everything, it's all good. Yeah. Little chemical suits and everything, they look like some out of CSI, bless them. I did have a garage to work in, but no more. I've again got a little square marked out where my toolbox and everything, and the rest is Grace's car boot stuff.
Ah, right. There you go. They take over our lives, I know.
Bless her.
We love them, really. If anyone any suggestions for future hangouts that they want covered, anything they want to talk about, or anything, anything perhaps we want someone to show a technique, or if that's possible?
Well, I think electronics would be a good place to start. Because there's quite a lot of people out there. I mean, I've been talking to a couple of my friends lately, and they both want to start lighting their kits for the first time, and they just don't know where to start.
Boyd touched on some on the model shop guy with his submarine the other day with various types of weathering, with oils and that.
Oh, that was very good. I watched that.
Maybe that's techniques like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weathering technique just comes out great.
Yeah.
I can help out on the weathering side. I'm not saying that anybody needs it, but as you can see, the stuff that I've done.
Painting seems to be your forte.
I use anything from oil paints, pastel. I did art A-level and O-level when I was younger. I didn't do electronics, but I did art.
That's nice.
One of those things that you just don't think you'll need.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
Well, I mean, it's something we could discuss whether it's possible to do a little simple introductory thing. I mean, I could do something up. This is a sort of a very, very basic lighting process or something. I know.
Yeah.
Craig always remarks to me, no matter what I suggest I'm going to build, first thing Craig will always say, light it. I did the World War I aircraft earlier on in the year, and he wanted me to light it. So where I would put the light, I don't know. But
you could have easily got fibre optics in the gun barrels. Easy.
Perhaps I'll be able to do it now. I couldn't have done it then. I wasn't able to. I've learned a lot in the last 6 months. So. But no, it's just to see what people want covered. I'd say that, or do it in a separate section in the SFMA forum or something. But then, it's nice to really show something interactive live if you can. But then, of course, something will go wrong, and everyone will be embarrassed and never want to see it again. But it's worth thinking about for future episodes. I mentioned earlier on, unfortunately, I'm not here next week because I'll be in London at the Star Trek convention. But I'm sure I can perhaps show some pictures when I'm back again in 2 weeks' time. But,
are you getting dressed up,
Oh,
Liam?
yeah, would like to see those.
Yeah, well, no problem at all. It's like, it's like, as I said to John the other day, I was in Newcastle last weekend. Unfortunately, we didn't meet up, but I was in the Metro Centre, and Warwick Davis was standing beside me in boots, and I had to reach up for something on a shelf for him because he couldn't reach it. And I didn't ask for a picture. I was such a fool. I should have asked him for a picture. I was chatting to him for about 5 minutes, but very, very nice guy. But I assume everyone knows who Warwick Davis is.
R2D2.
Well, that's Kenny Baker.
Wasn't it?
He was
He did. It was the Ewoks as well, wasn't it?
One of the Ewoks, yeah.
So,
Kenny Baker, R2D2.
Yeah. He wouldn't. I was asking, has he any involvement in the new Star Wars movie, and he said no, and just didn't want to discuss it. So,
oops,
I know. But that's the example. And next weekend the same thing. I'm hoping there will be some Star Trek kit stuff at the convention because there are dealers there. So we'll see what happens. That's why I was hoping to see Boyd tonight because his plan, of course, to do the new Enterprise model. Is it 11-foot, Dave? Dave, I think it's the name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, the giant one.
Yeah, the giant one. I mean, I know his plan is to have that ready for 2016. So I'm hoping to go to the Vegas convention in 2 years.
It's the DeBoa's one, isn't it?
Well, no, it's a scratch build.
Bigger than that.
Sensor. Yeah, it's 11 foot.
Yeah, it's exact replica of the filming model.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That'll be awesome, that.
They had there's a campaign, an Indiegogo campaign, or is it Kickstarter?
Right. Right.
To try and raise funds towards it. And one of the prizes, I mean, it's worth putting something on because there's a prize of going to see Boyd in his workshop in the new place is setting up. So that would be nice. But
also, you get
I don't know.
350 refit as well, don't you? The winner.
Yes, true enough. Yep.
Did you guys see Paul Olsen put that out about the original guys trying to get money to build another one?
That's almost millions of dollars, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not practical. I think it's I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. The issue I think could be that it's now 96 weeks to the Star Trek convention in 2016 in Vegas. I'm sad, I know that. But 96 weeks sounds like a long time, but when you're building a model of that size, it's probably going to be a big project.
I'm sure I read something as well recently that somebody over in America is trying to do a full-scale Enterprise, like a 1/1 scale.
Is that the Falcon?
Yeah.
Falcon, it might be. Yeah, I know there was a plan to have a hotel in Vegas, which was the Enterprise, which all fell through. It was going to be built down at not the part of Vegas that we sort of all think of as the the Mandalay Hotel and Forbidden Planet Hotel and all that type of thing. It was going to be built down at the older part of Vegas, and it got the go ahead. They were actively looking at it, but for some reason it all fell through. And then instead they had the Star Trek Experience, which unfortunately is now closed as well in Vegas. But there's a lot happening. I know Paramount in Europe, Paramount are building a park in Spain, which will have a Star Trek section. And there's also one being built in Jordan of all places. But we'll have a Star Trek sort of themed area. But that's for us Star Trek fans. I know there are more than Star Trek fans here. Plenty of Star Wars fans as well. And all our sci-fi, of course. Any plans for the winter builds? Anything big that they've been keeping secret that they're going to sort of start into?
I'll still be doing my JJ.
Well, I'm going to do the Deep Space Nine or the NXO-1 350 scale.
Right. Is the Deep Space Nine the clear one?
No, it's opaque.
Right.
But I'm torn between either starting that one after this Enterprise or the NXO-1, the 1/350 scale. So I'm torn between the two at the moment.
And Andy's the man to ask about the NXO-1.
Yes, I've been looking at Andy's quite a bit. I've went back through his profile and I've been looking at where he's got up to on that. It was like a really, really good build.
It's a good kit. It's not.
And Dave, of course, Dave's done an excellent one as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I was actually looking on the I forget which website it was now for the paint masks for those instead of the decals, but they're just out of stock at the moment.
I have one, and it's a set of Aztec Blue Damaso. Can't think of the company name now.
Aztec dummies.
Aztec dummy, a big thanks, Bob. But I've been told not to use them. Actually, Lou told me not to use them because the adhesion on them is just too great.
Really?
He's redone them since, yeah. I know Orbital Dry Dog do a set of those as well, but maybe Andy wouldn't recommend them now from his experience.
I went with mine. I went with the decals from Make Creation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what did you do with those, Dave? Did you cut them into smaller sections to apply them?
Yeah. It pretty much wrapped, kind of like the polar lights. They're made to go throughout the whole ship, like you wrap it. But they're more of a copper tone look, you know. Just don't order it from Make Creations. Order them from somewhere else that has his, because he takes forever to ship.
Yeah. There's been discussion about him recently, so yes, we know.
Our creation have gone bust.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He still owes me a set of Aztec masks from a Nemesis from like, what, nearly 18 months ago?
So really, I need to be trying to get a hold of those now, because if they go out of stock completely, there won't be any more coming available, will there?
Yeah.
That's worrying.
Didn't know that. Well, I'll tell you that my plans after I do my Galactica here, I know it ain't sci-fi, but I'm going to build a 1/350 scale battleship Missouri.
Nice. Nice. Well, funny, Craig knows I've been getting, I have something on the way as well, which is the same thing that Boyd's just building at the minute, the Type 7C submarine. I've wanted to do one of those for so long, and I managed to get a hold of one for a very, very, very good price. So it's another one of those ones for the stash. I'm embarrassed. I keep saying this, no more buying, stop buying. Build, stop buying. But there's always one more model and one more thing you'd like to get hold of.
Right.
It's an illness we all have.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I'm just something, I'm doing sci-fi for a little bit, and I'll probably do something on the side, because I'm going to take my time with it, but that's probably one I'm going to focus a little time with. I've got all the photo etch and stuff for it, and some of the aftermarket stuff, so I think it'll be pretty cool when it's done.
I'm sure you'll be doing a build log for that, Dave, yeah?
Excuse me?
I'm sure you'll be doing a build log for that, will you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll probably put that on that scale, scale model action?
Yeah.
And I'm tempted to try the water diorama with it. I like those when I see those, and I've been researching it a little bit and some of the stuff, so I've been possibly thinking about doing that too. So
it would be nice to see it in action, in a sense. I mean, watch an episode or watch Das Boot again, the movie.
I just did actually.
Yeah.
The director's cut.
Yeah, there's actually the original version was a TV series, which is much longer than the film version.
The director's cut I watched is like
I don't think it was ever shown in the States. Yeah, well, maybe it's very similar. Brilliant program, so a brilliant movie.
Yeah.
But inspiring for trying to do a good job of what Boyd's done so far is amazing. So the paint job's excellent on it. So.
He was actually, we were on Ubu last night, just kind of messing around. He was working on it, and I left at midnight our time. I'm sure he stayed up till, wee hours of the morning working on it, because he was just going to town on it. He was having fun, so.
I don't think Boyd ever sleeps.
Yeah. I know he had to get up and go to that Comic-Con.
Is he really one of us? Is he actually from outer space? Because I don't actually think he sleeps at all, mate.
He's definitely Borg, isn't he? assimilating everything in his path.
Yeah, that is true. He makes it look very easy when it's really sometimes not that easy. But that's just his talent, you know. I mean, especially with the painting.
I thought he would probably be going to the convention today because it's
Yeah.
Walter Koenig and George Takei and Nichelle Nichols.
Right. He said he's going to get their interview, so.
Oh, very good. Excellent.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother's down there. He's been sending me Facebook pictures all weekend, and I just put a ring his neck.
Isn't Boyd doing a radio thing tonight?
That was last night, wasn't it?
Was that last night?
I think.
Oh, the show was on Friday night.
Right.
Because he had the radio show was on last night. He did a talk show interview last night, which I know he posted on Facebook today, the link where you can go in the archives if you wanted to listen to it. But they interviewed him about what he's doing and the 11-foot project and his YouTube channel and all that. So
I know that's why I mentioned the fact it's 96 weeks away to Vegas, so will he have enough time to do an 11-foot model? No, well, we'll see. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he'll probably have it finished for January.
The way he says, he thinks the 11-foot would be easier to paint than one of those little 1/350s.
Oh yeah, no question. No question.
Yeah.
Although the orbital dry dock masks will be a pain to work with.
It's going to have to be a lot bigger.
Yes. Oh, I'll be interested to anyone else wants to raise, or will we call it a night, guys?
I've got a question for Andy.
Yep.
You know when you did the impulse engines on the Into the Darkness Enterprise, how did you block those off?
Small strip of styrene.
So did you make like a little box or something?
Yeah, but don't put a roof on the back because the saucer will move out. The saucer will like it. But basically, that's the edge of your saucer. Just put a piece of styrene.
Right.
Around it. And then if you like block the saucer.
I'm trying to make a section today to cover that just small square area. And I realised when I put the saucer at the top of the saucer back down on top of it, it was just going to crush it.
Yeah, we're talking really small, and then that's your light block, and then put some light down on the saucer to make a roof for the light box using the saucer.
Right, right. Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, well, I crushed my first one, so yeah, I know.
Right, I realised that was going to happen. That's why I asked.
Yeah, and most kits do it, but the JJ's the worst one for it. When you're putting your saucer together, put your bottom half of the saucer to the neck first, and then put your top of the saucer on.
Right.
Saucer, then put it on the neck. The pegs are so tight, you've got to literally get in there and, you know.
Right. So when I've got the hull constructed, attach the bottom of the saucer to that before I do anything else.
Yeah. Get your engineering hull.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
You really have to get in there, and if you try and widen the holes, you risk being loose even with the glue. So,
okay.
Get it all to put the lid on at the last minute.
Right. Thanks for that.
It seems to be a case of when you listen to Andy and various other people about the JJ price, it's a case of buying maybe 2 of them, or well, Craig 3 of them. When you're building one, you try and get around the problems. Sorry, four of them. Sorry.
I mean, it does help having quite a few people building this at the moment.
Yeah.
Because you are getting a few tips from people where don't do this, don't do that. So it is helpful having quite a few people building it at the same time.
Yeah, I keep hoping that there'll be a group build of the Clear D.
If they ever become available again.
Yeah. Well,
I'll jump on it with you.
Yeah, I know.
I think we should start a petition up and send it around too.
Yeah, I've been looking for everybody to try. If I come across them, don't worry, I'll let you know. It's like there was
an ones for a clear one.
Say again, sorry.
I swapped 2 opaque keys for a clear one.
That might be someone prepared to do that, certainly. I mean, have you even tried putting that on the forum?
He swapped 2 opaque ones for a clear one.
Oh, he has? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, right. Ah.
I'm offering cashing 2 opaque ones for a clear one.
Right.
Very lucky.
Yeah.
They're like gold dust at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying if it hadn't been for Christian sent me that one, I wouldn't have one. They're just so hard to get a hold of. It's just like the JJ prize. It's one of those ones I think that if there were a group of people who had them, everyone would build them together and trying to cover the issues, the problems. I mean, I watched Boyd's videos of his Clear D build, and that usually makes it look so easy, but it's one of those ones.
I'm really wishing I had, because my Clear D where I built, it was only my second ever build, and I'm really wishing I had kept it till I had a bit more experience now, because the LEDs are glowing like a Christmas tree, and it's just the decals don't look right on it. So I'm really wishing I had kept it now, but obviously I've built it. But I would really like to get another one.
You wouldn't ever try and take it apart?
No, I think it would cause too much trouble. I would like to strip it if that was at all possible.
Yeah, if you use the right material, you have to be very careful. But I know I have a Voyager which I had painted originally, and all I did was there's stuff called Fairy Power, which is a sort of a stainless steel cleaner.
Right.
And you just spray that on, leave it in a plastic bag for a couple of hours, and the paint just comes off.
See, but I've got all the electronics inside there and everything.
That's the problem. You have to sort of hope that your seal was a good seal.
I think I'm best off trying to. We should definitely send a petition in to round 2. We want Clear Ds.
Well, if our friends in the States can find them, they would make an awful lot of money selling them to European modelers, because they just can't be found. I mean, although perhaps it may be the same for them, they may not just be able to find them anywhere. I've searched.
I did come across one on Amazon last week or the week before, and it was like £250. I mean, I wouldn't be that.
Yeah. Well, that's why. I mean, that's why I'm so appreciative to Christian. He sent me that one, and all I had to pay him was the postage.
Yeah, nice guy. Nice guy.
He had said a friend got 3 more of them, so unless we can make him an offer he can't refuse or something. But it's, as you say, John, round 2. I mean, why they don't re-release certain kits? Perhaps the molds have worn out, which is the other issue, and they won't bear the cost of a new mold set.
Right.
Can I just quickly butt in a minute? Sorry, my battery on this is getting low. I'm down to 5%.
Well, I was going to say, Spencer, chances are, I think we'll probably finish off now anyhow.
Yeah, I just wanted to show something in that, because obviously I've got the D as well, and I know people have used razor blades or the X-Acto knives to scrape away the windows.
Yep.
Get yourself one of these. I don't know if you can see that.
Scriber.
Panel line scriber by Bare Metal Foil Company.
Oh,
it fits in those windows perfectly. One scrape, your window's done.
Or if like me, you work in a hospital.
Yeah. Dental birth. Yeah.
You get them in different sizes. Now, if you have someone who's a dentist or a friend who's a dentist, these are thrown away.
Yeah.
After a certain amount of usage, because they're not good enough for their purposes, but they're more than adequate for what we do. So you find that or similarly, if you know someone works in one of the hospitals, again, you get these are all hemostats or clamps.
Yeah.
These are thrown away after many uses, so they're perfect.
They're actually better as well, because you can get I've got big hands, and finding little cutters and that to get my fingers in is bloody impossible.
So if you have a relative who's a nurse, it's always worth asking.
Yeah.
I mean, I've actually saw what Spencer's been doing to his Enterprise D, and it's looking really good.
Yeah.
Right.
That one I haven't got on my list of things to look at, as if I didn't need more. Right. I think guys, we'll call it quits. It's been enjoyable tonight. I'm going to say thanks to Adam, and thanks to Andy, thanks to Bob and Craig, Dave. What's his name? John. Sorry. And Spencer, especially for popping in tonight. That's your
it's been a pleasure. I'm glad I made it.
The virgin. It's not a virgin anymore.
No, I'm not, and I'll be around for next week's as well.
Okay. And I will be.
Yeah, Craig, you're doing next week's, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I wonder if EasyJet will let me do a Wi-Fi signal from a flight on the way home. I don't think so.
Looking forward to seeing some photos anyway, Liam.
Oh, don't worry, I'll be annoying you with those the next time. But right, thanks guys very much for being here tonight. And sorry, we'll stop the broadcast now. And I think it was enjoyable. Thanks very much, Nick. And
Fantastic.
thanks to Boyd.
Thank you very much, Liam.
Thanks.
Good night.
Cheers,
Have a good
guys.
evening.